Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Knicks Media. This is Richie, and I'm bringing you guys the next episode on the series I created here on my channel, where I break down each player on the New York Knicks and give you guys my player profile. As you could tell from the title, I am breaking down Alec Burks in this video. I already released a bunch of player profiles here on my channel, so if you guys did not check out those videos, I'll leave the link down below to the entire playlist so you can check out. I did one on RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, Kevin Knox, Frank Ntilikina, a lot of players I already did. So if you guys did not check that out, make sure you do so. And if you guys enjoy the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And again, subscribe if you're new to the channel. With that being said, let's jump right into my player profile on Alec Burks. So this is my first player profile video where I can talk about the preseason, because we saw what Alec Burks looked like so far in his first two preseason games. In the player profiles I made earlier, we didn't get any idea of what this Knicks team will look like with them on the court under Thibodeau. With Alec Burks, I can evaluate somewhat. You can't read too much into two preseason games, but I do get a little glance of what I expect from him this season. So my overall take on Alec Burks is he's going to fill in that role of Marcus Morris last year, in my opinion. Do I think he's going to be as good? No. But he could be a guy that can be a veteran, that can be consistently putting the ball in the rim, stretch the floor, and just be a consistent flamethrower. I feel like even if he is really good up to the trade deadline, and say the Knicks are not in, they're not even close to the playoffs, say they were losing, but Alec Burks is playing well. He has a really cheap one-year contract. It's very easy to trade that. So say he does play well. Maybe we flip him in the trade deadline for a couple second-round picks. That is a good move. But Alec Burks is a player. Let's break down to his stats and his strengths and weaknesses. So his 2019 stats last year, he averaged 15 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 2.9 assists, 0.9 steals, shooting 41.8% from the field while shooting 38.5% from three-point land. So these are very consistent numbers, and I'm pretty sure this was off the bench for Alec Burks. I'm pretty sure he started the year off at Golden State, and then he got shipped to Philadelphia. So these are his stats while he was on both teams. And right off the bat, 15 points per game off the bench is pretty impressive. That's a guy that consistently puts the ball in the hoop, and you can tell he's a good shooter. 38.5% from three is a very good percentage, and almost 42% from the field is overall very efficiently. He can get the rebounds, solid, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, pretty good for a shooting guard / small forward. So Alec Burks is definitely a solid guy that's not going to light it up for the Knicks, but I feel like he's going to be somebody that just is consistent, takes really good shots, and can stretch the floor, because we know this New York Knicks team lacks three-point shooting desperately, and luckily Alec Burks brings that to the table. So here's my projected 2020-2021 stats for Alec Burks. I think he can come away with 17.2 points per game, 4.9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 42.2 from the field, shooting 39% from three-point land. So as you could tell, he went up 2 points per game because he's going to be the starter for the Knicks. This is why I have his points per game so high. I feel like he's going to be used a lot for the Knicks. And like I said, I compare him to Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris came here as a veteran, and he lit it up because he was our go-to guy. I don't expect Alec Burks to be our go-to guy at all. I'm not comparing the two, but I feel like Alec Burks as the only shooter on the starting lineup during the preseason. We don't know if he's going to start yet. We don't know if the starting lineup is set in stone. I don't think it is. But if he does start, I do think he has potential to put up 17 points per game. Maybe that's a little reach, but that's just my projection. I could easily be wrong. Let me know down below your thoughts of my projections, and give me guys your thoughts. So let's get into his strengths and his weaknesses. The number one strength that stood out to me most in preseason and overall his tape throughout his entire career is shot selection. He knows when to take good shots. He's not that type of guy that takes ridiculous shots like Julius Randle. When you're like scratching your head, you're like, that's not a good shot, bro. Like, you should not take that. Whenever he shoots, whether it goes in or not, you're like, okay, that's a good shot. And that's something you need from a guy that can stretch the floor and a veteran presence to come into this young team. And he's a veteran, but he's still pretty young. He's 28 years old. So another strength I have for him is outside shooting. He stretches the floor. He can shoot beyond the arc. He can shoot mid-range. He can shoot off the dribble as well. We saw him light it up all of a sudden in that second preseason game against the Pistons, and I feel like he has the ability to get hot at any given moment. And like I said, this New York Knicks team needs shooting desperately. So he is a really valuable piece to the Knicks if we want to make any noise this year. I know it's not looking likely, but again, if Alec Burks can be consistent from beyond the arc, very good sign. And that segues perfectly into his another strength I have, which is a consistent scorer. He's a guy that you can rely on, that will put the ball in the rim, and he's more of a shooter. He doesn't, I'll get into his weaknesses, but he just can put the ball on the rim from outside very efficiently, which goes into my other strength, which is efficiency. He has a high field goal percentage throughout his entire career for a small forward / shooting guard. For a guy that shoots the ball outside, he definitely has a very good field goal percentage, so his efficiency is definitely a strength. So let's get into his weaknesses. Inside scoring I have as a weakness because he definitely is more of a guy that can stretch the floor and shoot from outside. He can finish down low, he can drive and finish some contested layups, but that's not one of his strengths of his, so I made it a weakness. Another weakness is athleticism. This is something that we don't really have to worry about because we're not relying on his athleticism to do good. You know, someone like RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, Mitchell Robinson, those guys have freakishly athletic abilities, and we need them to rely on their athleticism to play well because that's part of their game. Athleticism isn't part of Alec Burks' game, so it's not that big of a weakness, but I had to put it on here. And then the last weakness I have is defense. He definitely is not a terrible defender. Just because I put it on the weaknesses does not mean Alec Burks sucks at defense. That's not what I'm saying. It's just not a strength of his. He doesn't have the best lateral quickness you want. He is not a consistent defender. Sometimes he plays really good defense. He deflects the balls. He gets steals. I mean, he averaged just under a steal per game last year, which is solid. But he's not a consistent defender that you can rely on. That's why I have it as a weakness, but I'm not too worried. I don't think Tom Thibodeau is thinking of Alec Burks as a liability on defense at all. So don't think I'm saying that. So that's really my take on Alec Burks. I think that he's going to become a Knicks favorite player to watch this year just because of we need shooting. And obviously we want to watch the young guys. We want to see RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin, we want them to take majority of the shots. We don't want to see Julius Randle, but I do feel like he is the one veteran that's going to come in here and he's going to have a starting job on the New York Knicks and prove, you know what, I belong to be starting, you know, because he's been a bench player, role player throughout his entire career. Now he's getting an opportunity to start for the New York Knicks. So you never know. What if he lights it up? What if he has some games where he hits 5 or 6 3-pointers? You never know. Let me know down below in the comments. What's your thoughts on Alec Burks? What are your expectations from him? I'm expecting just a veteran to come in here and take good shots and just be an overall really good team player in the locker room and try to, you know, mentor the young guys. That's really my take on Alec Burks. Let me know again in the comments. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoy. I'll catch you guys in my next video. Let's go Knicks. Peace out, guys.